I mean, I got a passion for this sport. Back in college, I had football in class. So now football is just my job. So I love to come out here and, just put everything from, the meetings and everything from walkthrough onto the field, so I can perform at my best.
Coming along as an edge rusher.
Say it again.
How do you feel you're coming along as an edge rusher?
Step at a time. Just taking it day by day. Seeing what I can get better at, keep on working on it. Just fixing different techniques and stuff like that. How I can really be at my best performance.
Biggest challenge with all the different things that they throw at you, position-wise, calling plays, stuff like that?
I mean, I don't really look at it as a challenge, right? People call it, pressure is a privilege. I guess you could say that. I'm really, just excited to come out here each and every day, like I always say, man, and work. I think that's the biggest thing overall is work, work, work. Because if you don't do that, then you don't see no outcome. No great outcome of it. Progress, not results.
Pretty clear to go out there, tackle into the ground and stuff. Have you been talking about that to kind of like back off?
Say, I couldn't hear you.
As far as like your physicality, tackling guys to the ground, has anybody talked to you about that, or how tough is that to dial back?
I think the biggest thing is really I just got to just keep being mindful of practicing, like knowing how to practice and stuff like that. And I'm doing it one day at a time. So.
Is that difficult to learn from college? Does that change a lot?
I mean, no, not really. Especially with the guys that we have here, just being safe rather than trying to injure guys and stuff like that. So.
Well, you're not trying to injure them, though. I'm just saying, you're so big, you're so physical. Do you sometimes surprise yourself when you get somebody there?
I mean, no, not really. I think sometimes I could definitely probably slow down or just have more body control.
As far as that, coming off the shoulder injury, is that something you're curious about to see how you handle the tackling part of it?
I couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry. As far as actual tackling in games, coming off the shoulder injury, is that something you're curious about to see how the shoulder holds up in a physical game?
I think the biggest thing right now is really just keeping the main thing. Day by day at practice, and also in the rehab. Just getting my shoulder back to where it needs to be day by day, and really like my whole body, mentally and physically.
On a couple times when you've been an edge rusher, like the next play or play after you're back at inside linebacker, what kind of things are you processing as you're kind of switching positions from play to play, as opposed to having a series, to come in and come out?
Well, just understanding, like the demeanor of my rush, and just reading runner pass keys first, because if I'm on the edge, I might be dropping, disguising a blitz. If I'm on the edge, I might be blitzing and disguising a coverage. You know what I'm saying? So it all depends on what the scheme is, what play it is.
How difficult is that to do that from play to play?
I mean, it's not difficult. I feel as though I'm versatile as myself, so. And I really enjoy being that type of player. And, I'm just excited to, like I said, man, just to keep on working at, my skill set mentally and physically.
When you were younger and primarily an edge rusher, who did you admire most at that position?
I mean, there's a lot of great guys out there. You got, of course, T.J. Watt. You got a guy like Von Miller. You got a guy like, Brian Burns. There's a lot of, swifty guys out there that has a lot of different finesse moves, but also adds power into it. And that's what, I recognize my game as.
You find yourself still watching them just in case for when you are playing there?
Definitely, for sure.
I know it's a limited amount of reps that you do get on the edge, but do you talk much with Jeremiah Washburn about rush moves or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. And, I'm very appreciative of, just Coach Washburn for, just pulling me to the side and telling me different techniques and how I can work on different things with, like the angle of my rush and, just also after practice, always getting work in.
Jihaad, last week I saw Coach Wright here. Can you talk a little about how much Coach Wright was here last week? Talk a little about how much he helped with your development as a player.
Yeah, definitely. When I was in high school, just understanding, just offensive schemes, and excuse me, it really, just the playbook, film, how to recognize different things so I can, play faster.
You spent the day off in the back to school event. What perspective did you have, being an Eagle now, seeing the kids who I guess you were like a
Yeah. I mean, well, me, I love being around kids. I love, just being a very great advocate, being a very great helper in the community. I like to say, you can't be great without the greatness of others. So I give a huge shout out to, the whole support staff that was there, just supporting me, when I wasn't there for like the first hour or two. And, even when I was there, just making sure everything was good, still giving out book bags, still, just having a great connection and a great energy with people. I think that was what the whole, give back was for, for everybody to come out, have great relationships with each other, just a great vibe and a connection.
As a follow-up to that, do you sense the pride that South Jersey has in both you being on the first round pick?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I always say, man, people think that South Jersey or New Jersey entirety, we don't play ball, you know what I'm saying? So I really take pride in that, and that's, a chip on my shoulder every time I come on the field and every time I really wake up, because I take pride that I'm from New Jersey, and I just want to see all the other kids that chasing their dreams, whether it's football, whether it's being a business person, whether it's being whatever you want to be in life, to just keep reaching them goals, you know what I'm saying? Just step by step, it's always a mountain to climb.
If you are playing Thursday night, I mean, what's that feeling going to be like playing at the Link as a local kid who grew up in the area?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm really just worried about practice, get my shoulder right, and these meetings that's about to come up. So, yeah.
We're pretty close with IMG. Do you guys keep in touch still? Now he's in Dallas and you're here.
Yeah, definitely. That's my dog.
Communicating during camp and stuff with texts?
A little bit, but when we on the field, we enemies. Off the field, though, that's my boy. I love him for life.